All right, I want to welcome everybody to Unknown Philosophers Live. This is going to be the Friday edition. This is going to be episode number 28. We have an incredible guest with us this evening. We've got Aaron Nordstrom from Gemini Syndrome, a dear friend. I can't wait to interview him and hang out. Please remember to go back and check out episode number 27 with Martin Fulks. We had a wonderful Saturday morning with Martin. He successfully demonstrated Giordano Bruno's memory system. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, please check that out. It was a lot of fun. Tonight, every Friday night, we have Jason Brock with us. I'm so excited to have you here tonight. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me as your co-host. And I would remind everybody that's watching us on Facebook to share this program with your friends so that they can also enjoy what we're doing here. Well, we've got Aaron Nordstrom from the group Gemini Syndrome, who I believe is a great friend of yours, and I'm really excited to get into this interview. So why don't you start us off, Greg?
Aaron, how are you doing, man?
I'm well. I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. I loved hanging out with you a few months ago and got a chance to listen to some of the new music. You've got 3 new videos out. You've got some tours lined up now. Why don't we just get into this and let's talk about the music first, and then maybe we'll watch a video together with everybody, and then maybe we can get into the lyrics, the imagery, and we can learn more about you. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
So let's talk a little bit about the new album that's coming out. I guess it's been a few years. Do you guys have a name for it yet?
It's called Third Degree The Raising.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Our third full length. It's our third full length to come out. And it was acted as a trilogy. So the first album was called Lux, which means light. And it was kind of a coming of age record. The second record was called Memento Mori, which means remember that you have to die. And dealt with exactly that, realizing that you're mortal and that time isn't infinite and you got to take responsibility for your decisions and your actions. And then the third record, aptly The Raising, is death and resurrection and the rebirth of the new phoenix, if you will.
You know what's incredible is I listened to the lyrics and I watched the videos and the imagery, and then and I just learned, and I just started listening to you guys recently with the new stuff. And so and Jason had mentioned this too. I'd gone back, and what I love about your lyrics and your music is you're not writing lyrics from other people's writings and books and testimonies and verses. This is purely from your life. And I love that because as people listen and they grow with those 3 albums as a seeker through realization, how amazing is it for you to go back and see those steps? You know what I mean? Or I can see it in the lyrics for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
I mean, it was certainly, to look back, it's kind of like a roadmap of where I've been, right? Yeah. And a lot of those things you don't realize you're doing at the time, they can kind of have more meaning later, I guess, which is kind of part of the interesting journey, right? Is to learn things that you kind of already knew, maybe in your subconscious, and you put it down in art, and then it manifests later. That's where art can be really tricky and kind of fun, but I will say this, that I steal plenty from other people's books and writings in my lyrics. Sure. So I don't know that I can't say I'm not a plagiarist. Certainly borrowing from around here. And yeah, but I try to make it my own for sure. I think, most of the stuff that I reference, whether it be from philosophy or religion or whatever, had to resonate with me personally in some way to make it into a song, right? Because ultimately it is my poetry or my storytelling about my experience. Like you said, I don't really write fictional songs about like pretend characters falling in love or something like that. Like that's just not my way, right? It's much more personal to me because it is therapeutic and it's an art of expression and trying to stay level-headed in this place.
Aaron, I think you've really provided an interesting insight for anybody who's watching this program about how as you progress spiritually and become more awakened, you will be able to look back and see in your own work that there were little hints at what you would become later already there. And so thanks for sharing that with us, because I think that'll be an inspiration to other people down the road.
I think that's true. I think there's other elements to it as well, like not only looking back to seeing little gems of what was to come, right? But also times when, like, I can look at those first two records and I know the times where I was struggling personally, and I would use the music to almost trick myself or lie to myself into becoming what I wanted to become, right? Like, you write these songs to say that I'm doing this, even if I didn't believe it all the time, right? I'd say I believe it much more wholeheartedly now where I am in life. But maybe 5 years ago, things were a lot darker. And I think I was writing songs and I was still trying to stay as positive as possible. But I didn't always believe it. But I put it in those songs that I'd almost have to, go back to that place over and over, performing it and recording it and listening to it, so that eventually you create sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Fantastic. I agree. Absolutely. I noticed that in your work, because I've gone back and looked at your videos from 5 or 6 years ago, back to 2015, I think even. And one thing that I observed, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but there was always a sort of very positive, even though there was some angst in it, when I'm struggling and fighting with this, there was always a very optimistic, I've got this under control, I'm going to beat this deal, and I'm on top of stuff. And so fantastic, because I think there was, regardless of how maybe dark some of it may have been projected as, there was always a very positive message coming through, to me at least.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that, because that was totally intentional.
Great.
And necessary, because life is a struggle. It's challenging, right? And without that kind of core, I'm gonna get through this mentality, like, you have to maintain hope. And if you don't, what do you have at the bottom of the bucket? Like, sometimes that's all I had, was the hope that I'll beat this, I'll get through it, and I'll wake up tomorrow better for it, even if I didn't necessarily believe it at the time. But you gotta lie to yourself a little.
And again, what I love is you're using yourself in these albums, in this growing, and it's allowing other people that listen to it to shine light on maybe something they're experiencing as well, without having to reveal that to somebody and talk to them. And then having the music in the background as well, with the emotion flowing with all that energy. It's just wonderful. Maybe we can take a look at Reintegration, the video. I'm going to switch over to YouTube, you guys. This is the first time I've done this, so I'll try to connect it and we'll watch it here. My first watch through, Aaron, let's just talk about it real quick here. As I see somebody who has just seen themselves maybe for the first time, and they've noticed, wow, I'm beat up, man. I don't even have any color to me, and they're going and they're walking, and they know there's something. They see this light, they go into the temple, right? And they go through all this ritual, and you've got music, which is medicine, and you've got priests in there, and they're pulling you through. And remember, I can only go from my past to explain. And so anyways, this initiate goes through this process.
Right, I'm sure.
So much, that's the repository of symbology from around the world you have in there, the floor, the pillars, the globes, the colors. And so they go through this process. They've got the mirror, and I love, man, that final scene, dude. I waited for it the whole video. I was like, dude, if they come out with his robe and it's the color and he's where I think he's going to be at the end, man, and you guys did it. Does that sound right, or am I totally off?
No, that's pretty good. and again, I don't know how much of that was intentional. I kind of talked to you about this on the phone a little bit. There were some parts of that video that were, we were incorporating, but we didn't necessarily know the real meaning that it had. I don't know if I'm saying that right. There was more meaning that we didn't quite understand at the time, that we found out later, after the fact. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's been an interesting phenomenon as time has gone on is trying to use these spiritual or more esoteric or philosophical ideas, and you're trying to grasp at them from the ether, right? And you get ideas like this whole record. I wrote half of it while we were in the studio, and I would literally go to the studio and record that day, and then I'd go home with one or two songs that night, and I would just write to it. And it felt like I already knew these tunes, which was obviously impossible because they'd just been written. But that had to come from somewhere, you know what I mean? That inspiration and those ideas had to come from somewhere. And it feels like the videos and the lyrical content and the music all kind of coagulated in this really interesting way that was almost cooler than we could have done on purpose.
It's graceful, man. It's that grace of dodging the eye or the ego, as we call today. It's getting that info and getting it around it without it taking credit for it, right? It's like, all right, man, I gotta get this out before it starts changing things. And that's the stuff that cuts through and hits us in the heart, you know, not the mind, but man, it goes right to the heart. And your music does that, dude. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Man. Wow, dude. I don't know what to say. That's one of three, everybody. The other two are just as good. I mean, like
music to relax to.
Yeah.
Oh man. You know, the words that you have in there are no different than the words I hear from I have about three that I guess they would be considered realized masters in the Himalayas that I Zoom with. And the words you're speaking here are words that are after a samadhi, meaning remembrance, right? Reintegration, like remembrance back into the whole. It's like Rumi. Wow, I'm a raindrop. I'm an object. Check. Whoa, check that out. Now I got to remember how to, and dude, the words there, everything is there, my brother. It is awesome. Anything you want to add, Aaron, please?
I mean, that was one of those songs that was written on the spot. And like I said, I was using my phone to type the lyrics out. I was sitting at my buddy Adam's house in Phoenix, and it was late at night. I got my headphones in. He's already asleep because he's got to go to work, and house is all dark, and I've got this song on loop. And then once the lyrics came, they came, and I just typed it out like I already knew it. So I really felt like a conduit writing a lot of these tunes on this album. I know it sounds cliche, like, oh, it was like channeling through me or whatever, but it really was. And
it's you. It can only
certainly I had, you know, some inspiration from what I'd been reading and studying, but how it all came together, I mean, I can't really take full credit for it. I was just kind of a willing participant.
I love the break in the scream. It's a point everybody can connect to, where you're in bed at night and you are drunk in the mind. It's just going and going and going. And the artist in the song is saying, why can't we just let go? You know what I mean? Like, because you can let it go. It's in the past. And I love that there's a break, and we've all felt that. So thank you for adding that. Sorry, Jason. Just I
No. Well, Aaron, I'm curious. Is anyone in your group a Mason? Because there's what's perceived to be some Masonic imagery throughout this video. Quite a bit of it, in fact.
Certainly is. My drummer is a Mason.
Oh, okay. Because I noticed a skull and square and compass and a checkerboard floor and a couple other elements. And I also noticed that at the beginning of it, the statues, I think the Egyptian statues at Abu Simbel were in it. And that's a place I went when I was a kid. So that really stood out and touched me, because that's a place I'd seen in person when I was a young man or young boy.
That's awesome.
And so that was really quite nice to see as well. But some fantastic imagery. And so was there some intent by putting some of those images in there? Were there special hidden meanings behind it, or they're just cool?
The easy answer, they're just cool, right?
Okay.
They just look at me. No, that's not true though.
Okay.
That would be a lie. We've been using symbolism since the first record. We've always had symbols associated with songs that we thought kind of visually represented as best it could the meaning.
Right.
In an attempt to, so I'm a big fan of Robert Anton Wilson and his psychological work with Tim Leary back in the 70s.
Right.
And I like the 8 circuits of consciousness that as a model to understand the human mind. So in the 3rd circuit of consciousness is the socio-symbol language, symbol systems level of consciousness. And it's where your brain interprets symbolic meaning and hidden meaning in language and pattern recognition and things like that. So by associating a symbol with a song, with an album, and in the same regard, like we have it's a 3-step process of these records, right? So it's a 3-step initiation process too.
Well, yeah, the title "Third Degree," the raising is kind of to the point.
Right. And I can't say that I'm a Mason, but I've certainly read a couple books on it here or there. Not that makes me an expert, but I'm certainly interested in all, and so much of the symbolism and the storytelling used in that particular art is also found all over the place.
Sure.
In other orders and philosophical systems.
Oh yeah, Masons took this information from other cultures, other places, and incorporated.
Right. Yeah. Just signposts. That's all we're using today, right?
Right.
Trying to use those symbols appropriately to kind of tell the story visually, what the music is trying to tell you, what the lyrics are trying to tell you. You even notice the band symbol is the two pillars with the kind of figure 8 in the middle, which is the DNA helix, or just an S for syndrome, depending on how you spin it. But even in this video, you have the middle pillar kind of comes in, and that's kind of the resolution of this whole song, right? Is the middle path and reconciling those two opposites.
Got it. Well, great. I think you did a really fine job of continuing the or reveiling the meaning of those symbols.
Sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. We were talking earlier. When I listen to the lyrics again, if I didn't know you and I just listened to your band, I'd be like, man, listen to the message in this, because nowadays, and it's always been this way, we're always looking and judging other people and other things and everything. It's like our brain is like an amoeba with this laser. It's like, it locks on and gives us this false information, right?
Right.
What's amazing is, like you said, like the message is there in the first album, but you truly see your walk in the 3 albums. And that's what I love about saying this now is the message now, it seems like in the album is, hey, do a 180 and look at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's it. And be quiet. Just do 180. Look at yourself, put the soap in the mouth. Right? And you will be blown away. Right? And all the judgment stops because you're like, dang, I'm the same as everybody else.
Right. No separation, no reservation.
Yeah.
It's not a part, it's just a forgotten part of you.
And then, as we said, if I know that and you know that, we meet on that level, there's 2 of us, and hopefully there's 3, 4, 5.
Right. And see, I look at things like that, and it reminds me immediately of where 2 or more are gathered in my name, I will be there.
It's all there, every verse. Yeah. It takes us to the same place.
Always.
It's
because that's the only place there really is.
I know, and even that's too much.
You can't go there because you're already at it. Wait, I'm so confused.
That's so good, dude.
You have to go write another record or something. Oh my god.
I love it, brother. Hey, let's jump into I was successful with that first one. Let's look at Die With Me. How does that sound?
That's great. That is the current radio single.
Okay.
This song has just hit the top 40, which we are super stoked about.
Dude, that is
still climbing. So if you're in your local radio station is playing that rock and roll music, see if you can get this played on your radio for us.
Now let me see if I can decipher this one successfully. This one, when I listen to for myself, reminds me of when I did See the Eye. And it's like, oh, dude, you're going down.
It's you and me, buddy. It's you and me.
And it's hard to understand like what that death is. It's when you become aware of the mind and all of its tricks and you learn meditation and how to separate from it. After a while, you start going an hour without it, 5 hours without it. And you go, I really don't need it. I don't need to listen to it. And it just kind of dies. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it really, yeah, that's it.
Cool. All right, man. I'm gonna
let go of it. You don't need it. Let go of it. You don't need it. Let go of it. You don't need it.
Absolutely.
This song has been interestingly successful for me in a particular way, in that I really try to write as ambiguously as possible, right? Like if I'm writing a song there's a song on the first record that is absolutely about a breakup that I went through, but the story I'm telling is about the fall of Lucifer from heaven. So it's not exactly like a love song, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Die With Me, I think, has been the most successful, ambiguous poem on this record thus far, because the answers, especially with like the you and me, you plus me equals 23 line, has.
I have a question about that.
I'm sure you do. I love the fact that so many interpretations have come back to what this song means to people, and some people are nailing it on the head. Some people are totally in a ballpark I didn't even think about, which is also awesome. That's the best part about being a musician and writing songs, man, is having the other interpretation from the listener come back to you after the fact. And I'm not even going to say necessarily what this song really is about, because I think that would ruin the fun. But I'll give you cryptic answers. You know,
okay,
we'll make a game out of it.
Because you're unveiling again. You're unveiling. You're like, hey, check this out, and then.
So at the end of the day, it's more important what it means to you anyway. I could tell you what it means to me, but if that doesn't resonate with you, or if you haven't experienced that same experience that I went through to get to that place, then it doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It has to mean something to you and your personal experience. So I'd much rather hear other people's initial interpretations of what this stuff does to them and their little biocomputer.
That sounds awesome, man. I'm gonna throw it on, guys. Watch it, and then we're gonna get back and let's talk about what you project into it.
I feel the void, I feel the hunger that's growing inside. I like the God in you to meet the God in me. You plus me equals 23. Hallelujah, are you able? Be my sinner and my savior. Come die with me. Holy altar on your table, I am here alive and able. Come die with me. I feel the pressure, I see the spark, I see your energy overcome the dark. I am a servant, I'm on my knees. Let's at your shadow enveloping me. I like the God in you to meet the God in me. You plus me equals 23. Hallelujah, are you able? Be my sinner and my savior. Come die with me. Holy altar on your table, I am here alive and able. Come die with me. We're like the moon and the sun. We're like a 0 and a 1. Come die with me. Die with me. Is this the pleasure or the pain? Is it the acid or the rain? Come die with me. Die with me. Hallelujah, are you able? Be my sinner and my savior. Come die with me. Holy altar on your table, I am here alive and able. Come die with me.
Dude, Aaron, when you guys get back live and you play this song and you guys kick into that hallelujah section breakdown, you're going to take people to church, dude. I just want to recommend that you have a hold of something, because I think you're going to have Kundalini every single time that hits, dude. It's just, you know what I'm talking about, man. It's just
man.
Like, oh,
yeah,
dude,
man.
It's so good. So good, dude.
Okay. I've got specific question about this song jumped out at me the first time I listened to it. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm a simple man.
I'm ready.
Right. I'm a simple man, and I'd prefer to know the artist answer. I've got a couple guesses at it, since you want to know what my interpretation, my guess is. Okay. My mind goes to
I want to know yours first.
Here are my three best guesses, but in the end, I do want to know the right answer. Okay.
I'll tell you.
My mind thinks numerologically. And so, the lyric, God in you, God in me, you plus me equals 23. Okay. So 2 + 3 = 5. 5 numerologically means change. Or so the two of us together are a change agent, or we create change, both of us together. That would be one thing. I don't know what the 23rd tarot card is off the top of my head, since I saw cards being played in the video. That's another guess. And then Psalm 23, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Those are my three best guesses. What's it really mean?
Well, all three of those are in line, right? They're all right answers. They're all right answers.
Tell me the truth. What's it really mean?
So it partially comes from Lao Tzu. The 1 created the 2, the 2 created the 3, and the 3 created the 10,000 things.
Oh, wow.
So 2
Explain
being the male.
Explain.
So if the all separates into duality,
okay,
and then separates into the triplet. So you have the 2, which is the phallus, and then you have the 3, which is the triangular vessel. So you have male and masculine and feminine energy.
Okay.
2 + 3 come together. To go back to your tarot card thing, which is interesting. So this is another Robert Anton Wilson thing I took from when I was a kid. We have the 22 major arcana.
Yeah.
And then so the 23rd card is the repeating of the cycle.
Oh, interesting.
Right, because there is no 23rd major arcana.
Okay, right.
So in the book, the Illuminatus trilogy, he has this whole concept of the 23 meme, right? And the long story short with that is that your perception, your focus will guide your perception, and your perception will guide your reality. So what you look for, you'll find. So in the concept, if you ever watch that movie, the number 23 with Jim Carrey, he's finding 23s everywhere.
Right.
Everything is 23, and it's an interesting movie. But to me, they miss the point of, you'll create what the thinker thinks the prover proves. So if I go looking for 23s everywhere, I will find them everywhere I look for them.
Tell me about it. I did that with the number 33 years ago.
Which is another 23. It's 2 3s.
Yeah.
So
I understand this right. The 23 represents male, female. Then is that what you're saying?
In a sense, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, well, thank you for that. Thank you for the understanding.
And even the line, the God in you, I'd like the God in you to meet the God in me, is just namaste, right?
Yeah, right.
Divine in me recognizes the divine in you.
Very good. Thank you.
I love that it was bold. You know what I mean? When you wrote that, the God in me and the God in you, did you kind of just pause for a second? Did I just throw that down?
I did.
Yeah, it's like
Am I doing this? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, dude, because
why not? It's third record. Let's see what happens.
And I know what you're saying. And for the listeners, it's an Aaron and I've talked about this, when you close your eyes and if you quiet everything and you just say the word I, what's the space before it and after it? There's nothing there. That's you. Because you're the one saying the I. So we're all the same. So from that point of view, it's like, hey, Aaron, what's up, dude?
Exactly.
And then we can meet and enjoy ourselves. And again, I can't wait for your audience to return and listen to these words and these lyrics, and they come to your concert and they just are taken away from the mind, and they're in there and they're just having that moment like, man, I am so glad I'm here right now, just hanging, and these guys are just playing such great music. I'm so excited for you.
Hey, Briggs, maybe now is a good time to talk about, you mentioned concerts, about his upcoming concerts. What's coming up? Which,
do it.
Aaron, tell us about your upcoming shows.
We got about 5 weeks of tours coming up in July and August. The dates are on all of our social medias, GeminiSyndrome.com, Facebook /Gemini Syndrome, Instagram /Gemini Syndrome. I know we're starting in like Salt Lake City. We're going through Colorado, then heading east. We have a couple of festivals in Wisconsin that we're doing Rock Fest, which is like a 3 or 4 day thing with like Korn and Danzig and Snoop Dogg, and which is super cool. I think we're playing the same day as Body Count, so I want to try hang out with Ice-T because I want to. All right, I'm back. Out to the 15th in New Mexico. You can find everything online.
Well, say hi to Ice-T for me as well, man. Anytime I hear
I'm an
song,
SVU. I'm an SVU fanatic.
Oh, dude, remember the song "Reckless" from Breakin', the movie?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was my first time. Check this out. A buddy of mine, when that came out, we had a York's tape deck. We had a Fisher Price record player, and that's when we started mixing, dude. And we were using that song "Reckless" because that beat you could kind of cut, dude. Stuff like that. So yeah, I know that stuff. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Dude, Ice-T, man. He hanging out with Snoop Dogg and all that stuff. Is that kind of a circus? Is it fun? Is it fast? Do you get a chance to just sit back for a moment and be the watcher and experience it?
It's kind of like Project Mayhem. You decide your own level of involvement, right?
Okay.
Certainly it can be a whirlwind circus if you want it to be. It certainly was my first few years out on the road. I was tearing it up pretty good. I'm pretty calm now, pretty laid back. I'm getting older though. But yeah, I mean, you got to think that most of these cats who are out here doing it we're lifers, man, you know? So the crazy party, go mentality eventually dies off because nobody can sustain that forever. And it's a career, it's a job. And the people who have the longevity in this career are the people who can see down the road and have temperance to themselves and their appetites and their desires, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
It can be a struggle, but I've met a ton of people that have greatly influenced me in my life, and you meet some of the most incredible people in music. I mean, in art in any capacity, right? You meet some weirdos and you get crazy cool stories. And
so give us a good one, man. Give us like somebody you met that you were surprised maybe was on the road or in the studio and you got to hang out with them for a moment and you guys had a good time. What's a good story?
I'll tell you, I have a bunch of them over the years, man. I've been really lucky to and blessed to have been invited to sing with like a ton of different bands that we've been on tour with or that we've hung out with. I've been on stage with Seven Dust. I've been on stage with Nonpoint. I've been on stage with Five Finger Death Punch. I've been on stage with Drowning Pool. I've been on stage with David Draymond from Disturbed. I know I'm leaving some out, but I mean, just over like I remember we went on tour with Device back in like maybe 2014. That was David Draymond's side project. He did with Virus from Dope and Will Hunt. And we toured them for like 7 weeks or whatever. And the first day we were in Little Rock and I was off somewhere in town trying to find a coffee shop with somebody. And I got a phone call that Mr. Draymond has summoned you to the bus. I'm like, it freaked me out, man. You know, so I ran back to the venue and I knocked on the bus door and he invited me up. And he was just the most chill, you know, down to earth, cool dude. And he was, you know, what I like to do on tours is I want to invite the singers from the other bands to come up and kind of create this camaraderie and this brotherhood. So Elias from Nonpoint is obviously like the senior in this, so he gets the first pick, and then he let me pick whatever song I want, invited me on stage every night to sing with him.
Wow.
And like that's huge, man. I remember being a kid driving in my mom's minivan when I was probably about 13, and you know, local heroes Disturbed got signed with Warner Brothers Records or whatever, and Down with the Sickness became the #1 single in the country or whatever. And now I'm hanging out with that dude and singing with him every night. I have countless stories like that, man. countless stories. So I've been super, super blessed.
Now he's very educated in psychology as well. I believe we
He
had
is
talked
smart, dude.
earlier. Maybe something people don't know about you is when you were 14 years old, you went from regular school to college. I don't know if people know that you've got a very high, it's not only that you're a musician, that you're a songwriter, that you're a master of your craft at singing, but that you have a very high IQ. And I can say that for you, what was it like, being 14? And maybe you can share a little bit about that and going into college. That when you shared that with me, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I don't talk about it too often, just because it never seems like it has a reasonable place to be brought up, right? I don't know if you know this about me, but I went to college when I was 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not the party conversation starter. But I mean, to put it bluntly, I had a really rough time in school as a kid. I grew up in the Midwest outside Chicago. I obviously have albinism. I was a weird kid. I got made fun of on a constant basis, and that was a real struggle for my mental health and my survival ultimately. And I just never felt like I fit in, and I was really bored in school all the time, and that caused dissonance between me and the teachers and me and the executive staff of the schooling, because they didn't know what to do with me, and nobody could figure out why, like what was going on or whatever. And they looked at my ACT scores that I had taken in 8th grade, and I was like way above the national average. And so in a response to try to find alternate schooling for me, basically because I was so mentally unhealthy. I mean, I was suicidal at the age of 12 for sure.
Sure.
So at 14, they took me out of school because it just wasn't working, and it was going to go down a road that was probably going to end with me dying. And we looked at other options. So we looked at homeschooling, and somebody proposed, they found those test scores, and they're like, why don't we see if we can just kind of advance him through? So we went to Illinois Benedictine University, and we went to North Central College, which at the time was the number 7 liberal arts school in the country. And they both accepted me. I was the youngest person in Illinois' history to go to college. So I did that. I studied psychology because at that point I was trying to figure out, my human condition. What better way to do that than study the psychology and the sociology of a young teenager trying to traverse the world? Yeah. Which was great for me. I fostered, or I flourished, I should say. I did really well. I was really happy. I've always hung out with older people, not so much now that I'm getting older, but as a kid. So I was socially much more comfortable, and everybody accepted the albinism. Nobody cared because everybody was in their 20s and 30s. Don't care anymore. They're not cruel little kids. Yeah. So I did that, and I got to study what I wanted to study. I studied philosophy, I studied sociology, psychology, music theory, and then I got bored, and I dropped out at 17, and I moved across the country to California to study Chinese Kung Fu.
Wow.
And you've done that for 20 years now?
23, 24 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did the Kung Fu help you? Well, I played in a little small band, and I've sang. I had to teach myself to sing. It was more intellectually than having a talent. You're trying to use the intellect.
Right.
Did you use, now, obviously when we hear you sing, man, it sounds incredible and natural. Have you been singing as a kid? Was it natural for you to hit the notes, to hit the right notes? Has Kung Fu helped with kind of dialing into that science of sound and how to conform the mouth? And
100%. So I started singing really, really young, like before I remember. My mother is a jazz big band gospel singer. She trained with a lady named Ann Perillo, who had done world tours with Pavarotti back in the day. So she's top-notch opera lady.
Yeah.
So she was my first exposure was my mom, and then Ann. I started playing piano when I was super, super young. I was like 3 years old. And so, I mean, there's a picture of me in a diaper. I'm reaching up to a piano. I can't even reach the keys yet, but that kind of sums up my whole life, as a little kid in a diaper trying to tink the keys. I was certainly pulled to music and just drawn to it. So I found the Kung Fu excellencies. So not only is it martial arts, you have to learn arithmetic, you have to learn calligraphy, you have to learn Chinese medicine, and you have to learn music. All of those are intricately related. So the same breathing that you would do for doing qigong is the same proper singing.
Oh wow!
It's all related.
Yeah, we were, when I was looking up symbols, I'd noticed when I'd find a symbol for music in an ancient archaic language or something like that, or a dead language, it would always look similar to the one to prayer. And then that one would look similar to the one to medicine. And so I could kind of start following a progression of medicine, prayer, and then music. And it's amazing like how we have these mantras now and these tones and it would be fun to go with you sometime to India and go into some of these temples and hit some of these notes and some of these rooms and see what kind of cranial vibrations we can create. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be so cool. I've been watching, documentaries for years about those temples that all the different pillars are, formed to different tones, and it's just fascinating to me. I've never seen them up close though.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine you're just like hitting this note and it's tuned and it's vibrating the DMT. You don't have to take LSD or mushrooms, and you are in that.
Sign me up.
Aaron, a question. Aaron, do you feel as there's a sort of overarching message throughout your music?
Yeah, we're all connected.
We're all connected.
We're all connected.
The reintegration thing?
The reintegration of beings from Louis-Claude de Saint-Martin.
Expand on that a little bit for us.
So it's this concept that I've found seems to be popping up in every philosophy and every major religion that I've come across. Is at the core of it is this concept that the separation that we experience as human beings is all created in our minds, and that at the source of this, we're all part of the same thing. And even on a mathematical scale, if you look at, so if energy cannot be created or destroyed, and the known all, the universe that we live in is what it is, and it's all of its parts are already existing, that means that every single one of us is a part of that system. Integrally, we have to be like equal to one another in equal parts, right? The true unity is anarchy, is equality. The only way to not have a hierarchy is for everything to be equal, which means that everything rests at 0 or 1, but not in between. You can't have the two, which intrinsically means that our value is infinite, as your value is infinite, as Briggs' value is infinite, as everybody is an essential piece of the puzzle. And I think when we can connect to that and remember that every eye in this universe is the same as every other eye, trying to figure it out, trying to figure out the human condition, why we're here, what the purpose of life is, how to live better, how to make it a better world. And I think we get so easily distracted by, the universe at large, that it's so easy to forget that. It's so easy to think that we're alone, or we're an island, or it's just our infinite little universe that matters, but it's everybody's infinite little universe that matters.
You're an inspiration.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Anything else you want to share with us, Aaron? Any other projects you might be working on?
We've been expanding our Templar family, right?
Yes.
We've got John Logan Parsons with Immerser. We're working on a tune with him. At this point, that's the tricky part now, is that once you make it in the industry and you have like a record deal, then you become an exclusive artist and you need permission to go do other stuff, which is just it's a song and dance and a tap dance kind of thing. But we're working on that. Kane produced our second record in its entirety. His dad did our first record. The Churko family has been, I can't stress the importance of the value that they've had in our lives. To me personally, as an artist, as a human being, just an amazing group of people. I did a song with the band Violent Idols called Fuck You, which was aptly, so much fun to make that song. We wanted to do something that was really kind of in your face, but it's not really a mean song. We were smiling and laughing the whole time we recorded vocals for that. So yeah, I got my hands in a few different pots. I've got a couple other projects that I can't go public with yet that are in the works, but a couple other different musical directions. I got one guy that I'm talking to that I might get involved in, like this Latin funk jazz, like horn player who wants to bring kind of a rock influence into it. And he's like number 8 in South America on their charts right now. So I might bust into like the world Latin jazz scene. I don't know.
Oh, please do it, man.
Like, why not? And then I'll make a hip hop record with Snoop Dogg, and then I'll make a techno record. I mean, I just want to do it all, man. I want to do everything.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Then maybe someday I'll start a stand-up comedy career, and we can just do stand-up. We can do Latin jazz, then we'll have the metal show after that. It'll be great.
That's awesome, man. I can't thank you enough for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Anybody has any last questions for Aaron? We've got Megan, him here. Yes. How are you?
I'm good. This is really, it's fun listening to you guys because I've known Aaron, God, 6 years. So I guess it's just more of a testimony to Aaron and who he is. And everything that you guys have said tonight is something that he has a private Facebook group, by the way. And that's how we found out about this. I was at Ron's wedding because it was at the show. I have a girlfriend who was supposed to log in tonight. She forgot. She's from West Virginia. I'm from West Virginia. We met after a Virginia Beach show. So the unity that Aaron and the guys have brought together with Gemini Syndrome just speaks volumes for the band, for Aaron himself. We've had deep conversations late at night at like 3 a.m. on the bus. Like, Aaron is one of the most solid human beings I've ever met in my life. And for you guys to pick up on that in the lyrics of a song, just mind blowing. So thank you for having him on your show.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I've known Aaron for a short period of time, and he is such a pleasure to be around. Something I recognize in very few people, and he has it, and that is when you're in his presence, you never feel judged, and there's a peace in the room. And so thank you. Whatever you're doing, Aaron, keep it up, brother.
I'm doing my best, just doing what I can with what I got.
Right on, man. Jason, do you have anything left for us? Thank you for joining us, Jason, as always.
Yeah,
we'll have you back
absolutely.
next Friday. Anything you have left for us?
Yeah, well, it was great to meet Aaron, and I really enjoyed your answers. I really feel as though, man, you know where it's at. And so I just want to thank you for being an inspiration, as I mentioned before, and for the work that you're doing, which I'm sure shines lots of light on lots of folks. So thank you.
Thank you. That's the goal.
All right, everybody, join us Saturday, June 19th, 10 a.m. Saturday morning. We're going to have Dr. Angela Voss. I found her online years ago. I thought, are the mysteries being taught in academia by somebody who's really studied the characters we've had on this show, like Bruno and Pico and all these guys? And I found her and saw some of her interviews, sent her a message, say, we'd love to have you on the show and we can talk about the mysteries. So I cannot wait to have her on. Again, that's going to be Saturday, June 19th, this coming up Saturday, 10 a.m. As always, Aaron, on every show, we ask our guests to please leave us something positive to get us through the week. And once you leave us with that, we'll say goodbye. And I can't thank you enough for this evening. It was wonderful.
I'm going to leave you with my favorite Rumi poem. Only the sleeper considers it real. Then death comes like dawn and we wake up laughing at what we thought was our grief.